Hungry. Hungry. That's what I was. That's what I still am today. Hungry. Hungry to be better than my neighbor. Hungry to be better than everybody I work with. You see, my path was being laid out for me by my parents. My path was being laid out for me by everybody that I encountered in one way or another. But I still had to drive down that path. Even though it's being laid out for me, you still got to get down it. But the engine that drove me down that path was my hunger. I had this hunger inside to be great, to be different than everybody I worked with, to be different than anybody I ever walked around with. I had to be great because I had this hunger to do it. And I loved basketball as a kid. Basketball was the greatest thing for me. Like, I just loved watching it. My dad and I always watched it on TV. We went to live basketball games. And one day when I turned 12, I was like, Dad, I want a basketball, Dad. My dad was like, all right, buy you a basketball. My hunger was, I gotta figure this game out. I had this hunger. You gotta think, buying a basketball for a guy with arms that are about the same size as the ball? But my dad had no questions. He bought me the ball. And I was like, yeah, I got a ball. I was so happy with my basketball. It was my favorite thing that I've ever gotten from my parents. I was like, I got this ball. I went outside, I couldn't even dribble the thing. Throwing the ball in the air was the hardest. I would hit the bottom of the net sometimes, and I'd be like, yes, I hit the net. Are you serious? And we lived in this apartment complex, and we had a basketball hoop in the parking lot. So I went out there every day for like 3 months. Sometimes I'd make one basket. Sometimes I'd hit the net 10 times, and I'd go home like, I hit the net 10 times today. Are you serious? I was so great. In my head, I thought I was shooting like really good. But in reality, I was just throwing the ball in the air and just happy to do something. But as my hunger was trying to figure this out, I was like, I kept going back. It was in the summertime in Phoenix, Arizona, 110 degrees on blacktop. I was dying out there. But my hunger made me go back out there every day. And all of a sudden I started to figure out, if I hold the ball this certain way, and I jump a certain way, and I spin the ball backwards, I'm getting closer to the basket. So I tried doing that more. You gotta work with muscle memory. And I started doing it more and more and more. And all of a sudden I started making the baskets. My hunger was feeling better. My hunger was like, you're starting to get this. It was churning inside of me. You're figuring this out. Let's keep going. Let's keep working. And then one day these new kids moved into the apartment complex. And I was out there shooting around, having a good old time by myself. Like, I love doing this. It was what I loved to do every day. New kids came on there and said, hey man, you want to play can we shoot hoops with you? And I was like, yeah. I knew I had to let them shoot. I had to be a good guy. I wanted some friends. Yeah, you can shoot with me. So we started shooting around. They said, hey, you're pretty good. You can make some baskets. And they said, hey, let's play some 2-on-2. Now I was like, 2-on-2? Are you serious? I'd never ever thought about playing basketball. I wanted to shoot baskets. I didn't know about playing a game. But my hunger inside of me said, go play. You can do this. My heart was telling me, nah, just get your ball and go home. Now this game meant nothing for the 4 boys that were out there that night, besides just having a little bit of fun before you have to go in and go take a bath for the night. But for me, this was my NBA championship. This was my NCAA tournament game. I dreamt of this game in my whole life. I was like, man, I could be the 80s Showtime Lakers right now. The big guy said, hey, I'll take you. You just keep shooting like you're doing and you'll be all right, we'll be all right. I don't even know if we won the game or not. I don't even remember anything about the game. I just remember I played in a game. I was like, yes. I went home that night, I was so happy. The next night I went out there, my hunger was like, we're figuring this out. My hunger was still churning inside. You gotta go back tomorrow and get better. The next night I went out there and I kept on playing. Those boys showed up, we started playing every night. A couple of weeks later, we as the summer went on, we got better and better, and they built this park in our neighborhood, and we went to this park one night, and there were 4 full-size courts, and there was tons of guys on every court. And my hunger was like, you gotta play here. This is where you gotta be at. I didn't want to play in the NBA. I didn't want to play high school basketball. I didn't want to play in college. I wanted to play on the blacktop with all those men out there. I wanted to go play with those guys. I knew I wasn't there yet. I knew I wasn't ready though. But I wanted to be out there with everybody. And I was like, man. So I went back to my apartment complex with my friends. On the nights that they didn't play and shoot around because they had to go places, I still went out there. My hunger to figure this out. I just had to figure it out. So the next summer, when we kind of got a little bigger and matured a little bit, we went to the park. We said, let's go try it out. Let's go see what we do. We went to the park we called Next. I was so ready. This was my moment. I don't know if I won a game that night. I don't know if I think I lost every game, as a matter of fact. But I was competing. I was playing with people. These guys were blocking my shot. These guys were knocking me down. I was like, yes, knock me down. This this is great. I felt equal to all of them. I loved when they knocked me down. I loved when they didn't help me up when they knocked me down too. That told me that I belonged there. And I went home and I thought about it and I was like, my hunger said, what were you doing? Why were you happy to lose? And I had to think, and my hunger was telling me, you gotta win. You didn't work at that park in your apartment complex at that hoop all summer long for 3 summers in a row just to go and lose. So then I said, I gotta get better. And I kept working at it, My friends and I kept going to the parks. We started getting better and better. And then I said, we gotta go to other parks. We gotta try this out. We gotta see if I can go other places and play. And we started going to different neighborhoods. I started to win all the time. It was amazing. The way people treated me was amazing because they were so rude to me. It was so fun to watch them get mad when I would win games. At first they would let me have some free shots, and after I started making some, they would get mad at me. And it was great to have them come up on my face. You gotta think, a grown man wants to cover me with my small hands like he's never guarded anybody in his life. That tells you that I made it. My hunger was so happy inside. My hunger was like, we gotta keep going, we gotta keep going, we gotta see how far we can go with this thing. This ball is taking you places, David. If you can shoot this ball in life, you can do anything else you wanna do in life. And I remember there was this one night, we were at a different park in our neighborhood. There was this guy and he was giving me a hard time all night long. It was a big game in this neighborhood. There was about a 5-game wait, so if you lost the game, you had to wait a whole hour to play again. And people were going back and forth, and he hit me in the mouth on a foul. I called a foul, and he's like, you can't call that foul. And I said, no, you hit me in the mouth. He started calling me a baby, and he said, hey, special ed, what are you gonna do about it, special ed? And I was like, hey, that's pretty good. I haven't heard that one before. And he was like, special ed, what you gonna do? You gonna call your mom special ed? And I said, no, check it up. We started playing the game. He's all night long. The rest of the night, special ed. The game got close. My friends were like, you gotta shut this guy up. This guy's killing us, shut him up. The game got to game point. And I knew it was my shot. I had the shot on him. He couldn't cover me. He couldn't guard me. He was too old. He might have been like 5 or 6 years older than me, but he was way too old to cover me. And my buddies, we always had this backdoor pick for me to get a far 3-point shot, like a 20-footer. And I set him up for that. I did the step back 3 on him. Boom, hit him right in his face. What you gonna do? Hey, when you go home tonight, you tell him special ed sent you home. And he put his head down. He walked off the court. He was upset. He wouldn't even shake my hand. And I told him, hey, when you go home tonight, you talk to your girlfriend, you tell them special ed sent you home. He didn't realize that when I shot that ball, it wasn't going in because I was a better shooter. My hunger put that ball into place. When he came to play against me, my hunger was what drove me to be better than everybody else. That hunger that you have inside, that hunger is what's gonna take you places. Don't let that hunger shy away from you. When you see that hunger, take it and go places with it. Don't say, oh, I gotta stay in my house, I gotta be quiet, I gotta be calm. No, let that hunger take you places, like the hunger took me.